2 years had passed since the Villani were relocated to their new home on Haven Colony. The planet was beautiful, with green forests and clean rivers. It was nothing like their harsh original world. But the Villani had adapted well. Sora Park, now 10 years old, walked through the Villani settlement with her friend Nex. He had grown taller and learned to speak basic human language. Other human children lived on Haven Colony too, and they played together with young Villani without fear. "Look, little star," Nex said in his careful human words. He pointed to a group of Villani working with human engineers. "My people learned to use your flying machines," Sora smiled. The integration program was working better than anyone had expected. The Villani were not just passive recipients of human protection. They were becoming partners. Dr. Hyejin Kim had spent 2 years studying Villani abilities. Her research had revealed amazing discoveries. The Villani could sense emotions with incredible accuracy. When humans were stressed, sad, or afraid, the Villani knew immediately. This skill made them perfect for certain jobs. On human spaceships, Villani crew members served as counselors and emotional support specialists. During long space journeys, when human crew members became depressed or anxious, the Villani could help them feel better. Captain Park, now Admiral Park after his promotion, often brought Sora to visit the Villani settlement. She had become an official cultural liaison between the species. At 10 years old, she understood both cultures better than most adults. The Villani want to do more to help humans, Sora told her father during one visit. Elder Kiv says they feel bad that humans give so much and they give so little back. "They give plenty," Admiral Park replied. "Their emotional support has helped human crews on dozens of missions." But Sora shook her head. "Nex wants to be a real member of a human ship crew, not just a counselor. He wants to help with important work." Admiral Park considered this. The Villani had been learning human technology quickly. Some could now operate basic equipment and vehicles. Maybe it was time to give them more responsibility. The opportunity came when the human colony of New Beijing sent a distress call. Pirates had attacked the settlement. The colonists were trapped and needed immediate rescue. Admiral Park led the rescue mission. But this time he brought Villani volunteers with him. Nex was among the volunteers. He had learned to use human tools and weapons. More importantly, his ability to sense emotions made him valuable for finding scared survivors and detecting hidden enemies. "Are you sure about this?" Dr. Kim asked Admiral Park before they left. "If something happens to the Villani volunteers, Earth Command will blame you." The Villani asked to help. Admiral Park replied, "How can we say they are our partners if we never let them take risks with us?" The rescue mission revealed how much the Villani had learned. When the human soldiers moved through the damaged colony looking for survivors, the Villani could sense where people were hiding. They found children trapped in collapsed buildings and elderly colonists too afraid to come out. But the mission also revealed something else. The pirates were still on the planet, hiding and planning another attack. Nex was checking a damaged building when he suddenly stopped. His scales changed color slightly, which happened when Villani sensed strong emotions. "Humans are near," he told the human soldiers in his careful English. "They are afraid and angry. They hide." The human soldiers prepared for battle, using Nex's emotional sensing. They located the pirates before the pirates could ambush them. The rescue mission was successful, but during the final battle, disaster struck. A pirate with a plasma rifle targeted a group of human children who were being evacuated. The human soldiers were too far away to help. The children would die, Nex did not think. He ran directly at the pirate. The plasma blast hit him in the chest instead of the children. Nex fell, his scales turning gray as his life faded. The human soldiers killed the pirate, but it was too late. Nex died protecting human children, just as his people had protected Sora years before. Admiral Park held the dying Villani in his arms. Nex looked up at him with his large yellow eyes. "Little star safe?" Nex whispered in human language. "She is safe," Admiral Park promised. "You saved many children today." Nex smiled and closed his eyes forever. The news of Nex's death spread quickly through human space. The young Villani who had first found Sora in the wreckage of her transport had died saving human children on New Beijing. But the reaction was not what some expected. Instead of blaming Admiral Park for bringing aliens into danger, the human colonists of New Beijing demanded that Earth Command honor Nex's sacrifice. They said the Villani had proven their loyalty with blood. "These aliens are not just our protected species," wrote the new Beijing governor in her report to Earth. "They are our brothers and sisters. They died for our children. We will not forget." Similar messages came from other human colonies. Human ship crews who had worked with Villani counselors wrote letters praising their alien partners. Everywhere humans and Villani had worked together, the results were positive. But there was also opposition. Colonial Representative Chang had been speaking against the Villani protection program since it began. He argued that humanity was wasting resources on alien pets who contributed nothing to human civilization. "Now we see the truth," Chang said in the Colonial Assembly. "These aliens are getting humans killed. Young Nex died because Admiral Park put him in a dangerous situation. How many more will die for this failed experiment?" The debate grew heated. Some humans believed the Villani should be kept safe on their colony world. Others argued that true partnership required shared risks and responsibilities. So Ra, now old enough to understand the political arguments, made a request to speak to the Colonial Assembly. At 10 years old, she was the youngest person ever to address the government. "Nex was my best friend," Sora told the assembly in a clear, strong voice.
"He saved me when I was lost and hurt."
"He died saving other children like me. He did not die because Admiral Park forced him to fight. He died because that is what Villani do. They protect children." Sora looked directly at Representative Chang. "You say the Villani are pets, but pets do not choose to die for others. Pets do not feel honor and loyalty. Nex chose to save those children. That makes him a hero, not a pet." The assembly was quiet after Sora's speech. Even Representative Chang seemed affected by her words. Elder Kiev, now very old but still the leader of his people, spoke to the assembly through a translator. "We asked humans to protect us," the old Villani said, "but protection is not one-sided. We protect humans too." Young Nex understood this. "His death brings honor to both our species." Dr. Kim presented her latest research to the assembly. "The Villani are not just emotionally helpful," she explained. "Their unique abilities have prevented 3 potential wars through diplomatic intervention. Their presence on human ships has reduced crew mental health problems by 60%. Their economic contribution through specialized services has already paid for their relocation costs." The facts were clear. The Villani protection program was successful, but the emotional impact of Nex's death remained. Some humans questioned whether it was fair to let the Villani take such risks. Admiral Park had his own doubts. Had he been wrong to bring Villani volunteers on a dangerous mission? Was he responsible for Nex's death? Sora found her father sitting alone in his office after the assembly session. She sat on his lap like she had when she was smaller. "You did not kill Nex," she told him. "Nex chose to be a hero. If you had not let him come, those children would be dead instead." Admiral Park held his daughter close. "I just want to do what is right for both humans and Villani." "You are," Sora said simply. "Nex told me before the mission that he was proud to serve with humans. He said it made him feel important and useful. You gave him that feeling." The Colonial Assembly's final vote was close, but the Villani protection program was continued. More importantly, the Villani were granted full partnership status. They could serve on human ships, participate in missions, and take the same risks as human crew members. Elder Kiev was pleased with the decision. Through Sora's translation, he made a promise to Admiral Park. "We will be worthy partners," the old Villani said. "Young Nex showed us the way. We protect humans and humans protect us. This is how families should be." As Admiral Park looked out at the Villani settlement on Haven Colony, he saw human and Villani children playing together. Adult Villani worked alongside human engineers and scientists. The 2 species were becoming one community. Nex's sacrifice had not been in vain. It had proven that the Villani were not just protected refugees. They were true partners in humanity's expansion into the galaxy. But Admiral Park also knew that bigger challenges were coming. Other alien species had heard about the human-Villani alliance. Some were curious, others were hostile. The real test of the partnership was still ahead. Admiral Lee stood in the communication room of his flagship, looking at the faces of Earth's most powerful leaders on the video screen. The Emergency Council had been called to session. What Captain Park was asking for had never been attempted in human history. "Admiral," said President Chen, "you are requesting permission to establish a permanent protection arrangement with an alien species. This goes far beyond the non-interference directive. Yes, Madam President, but the circumstances are unique. Explain these circumstances again, said General Torres, the military advisor. From the beginning, Admiral Lee told the story once more. A human child crashed on an alien world. Primitive beings saved her life and protected her for months. When other aliens threatened the child, these beings fought a war to defend her. Many died, and now, Admiral Lee continued, Captain Park believes we have a moral obligation to protect these aliens in return. One child, said Economic Minister Patel. You want to change our entire alien policy because of one child? Not just any child, Admiral Lee replied. That child is now the bridge between our species and theirs, and what these aliens did shows character that we rarely see. Dr. Kim's scientific data was transmitted to Earth. The experts studied the Villani brain scans and behavioral patterns. The findings were remarkable. The Villani appear to have evolved a natural protective instinct toward young creatures, reported Earth's chief xenobiologist Dr. Martinez. This is not learned behavior. It is genetic programming. They literally cannot ignore a suffering child. That makes them vulnerable, said General Torres. How do we know they will not expect us to protect every alien species that asks? Because they are not asking us to protect other species, Admiral Lee said. They are asking us to protect them. This was the surprising part of Captain Park's report. When Elder Kiv learned that humans were considering how to help his people, he had made an unusual request through Sora's translation. He wants humanity to formally accept the Villani as protected people, Captain Park had reported. In their culture, this means they acknowledge humans as the senior species. They would accept human guidance and protection in exchange for loyalty and service. The Earth Council was silent as they considered this. No alien species had ever voluntarily asked to be under human protection. What exactly would this protection involve? Asked President Chen. Admiral Lee had prepared for this question. The Villani world is dying. Their sun is becoming unstable. In 50 years, maybe less, their planet will be uninhabitable. They need to be relocated. The cost would be enormous, said Minister Patel. The potential benefits could be greater, said Dr. Martinez. These aliens have natural empathy skills that could be invaluable in diplomacy and healthcare. They could help us with other first contact situations. President Chen looked troubled. Admiral, we are talking about accepting responsibility for an entire species. What if they become dependent on us? What if other aliens expect the same treatment? Madam President, Admiral Lee said, I have one more piece of information. Dr. Kim has discovered something important about the Villani. The Admiral activated another data file. The Villani have a unique ability to sense emotional distress in other species. They can tell when someone is in pain, afraid, or lying. This is why they immediately helped Sora. They could sense her suffering. Are you saying they are telepathic? Asked General Torres. Not exactly. They read body language, chemical signals, and other subtle cues that most species miss. It makes them natural healers and counselors. The council members looked at each other. An alien species that could sense emotions would be incredibly valuable for human space operations. Long space missions often had problems with crew mental health. Diplomatic missions could benefit from beings who could read alien emotions. What does Captain Park's daughter think of this? Asked President Chen. She has lived with these aliens. Admiral Lee smiled slightly. Sora Park has become their strongest advocate. She insists that the Villani are good people who deserve human protection. She has offered to serve as their permanent translator and cultural bridge. She is 8 years old, said Minister Patel. Yes, but she understands these aliens better than any adult human. The debate continued for hours. Some council members worried about the cost. Others feared setting a precedent that would attract every weak alien species to seek human protection. Military advisors questioned whether protecting aliens would make humanity appear weak to aggressive species. But Dr. Martinez made a compelling argument. The galaxy is full of hostile aliens. We need allies. The Villani offer complete loyalty in exchange for protection. They could be the first members of a human-led alliance. President Chen called for a break. The council members needed time to think. During the break, Admiral Lee received an emergency message from Captain Park. The situation on the Villani homeworld was getting worse. Admiral, Captain Park reported, the other Villani tribes are gathering. They plan a final attack to destroy Elder Kiv's people for helping humans. We have maybe 2 days before they attack. Admiral Lee knew he could not wait for Earth's final decision. He made a command choice. Captain Park, you are authorized to provide defensive support to protect the Volani tribe until Earth makes its decision. Thank you. Sir, when the Earth Council reconvened, Admiral Lee reported the new development. If we do nothing, the Volani who saved our child will be massacred within days. That is emotional manipulation, said General Torres. That is reality, Admiral Lee replied. President. Chen looked at the faces of her advisors. The decision would define humanity's role in the galaxy for generations. Admiral Lee, she said finally, Earth Command authorizes Operation Guardian Wing. You may relocate the Volani tribe and establish a trial protectorate relationship. Thank you. Madam President, this is a trial only, President Chen emphasized. 1 year. If the relationship proves beneficial to both species, we will consider making it permanent. Admiral Lee nodded. Understood. And Admiral? Do not let this become a precedent that attracts every weak species in the galaxy. We cannot protect everyone. After the communication ended, Admiral Lee felt the weight of history. Humanity was about to become the guardian of another intelligent species. It could be the beginning of a galactic alliance, or it could be a costly mistake. He contacted Captain Park with the good news. On the Volani homeworld, the response was immediate. Elder Kiv gathered his surviving people and made an announcement in their clicking language. Through Sora's translation, the meaning was clear. The Sky People have accepted us as their protected younglings. We will serve them with honor and loyalty. Our children will grow under their protection. Young Nex, still recovering from his battle wounds, asked Sora what this meant for their friendship. It means you are going to see the stars, Sora told him in Volani. And I will help you learn about my people, like you helped me learn about yours. Elder Kiv approached Captain Park through Sora's translation. We offer the covenant of protection. We give our loyalty, our service, and our trust. We ask for guidance, protection, and a place for our children to grow. Captain Park looked at the old alien who had risked everything to save his daughter. The covenant is accepted. Humanity will protect the Volani people. As human ships began the evacuation of the Volani tribe, Sora stood between her father and Nex. She was no longer just a rescued child. She had become the living symbol of an alliance between species. The Volani had protected her when she was alone and afraid. Now humanity would protect them. But as the ships loaded the first group of Volani refugees, Admiral Lee wondered if they truly understood what they had committed to. Protecting an entire species was more than just providing food and shelter. It meant accepting responsibility for their future, their culture, and their survival. The real test was about to begin. Captain Taman Park jumped out of the rescue ship before it fully landed. His daughter was alive. After 3 months of searching every planet in this system, his little Sora was alive. But when he saw her, his heart almost stopped. She looked so different. Her clothes were made of rough cloth that the aliens had woven. Her hair was braided with small stones in the style of the gray-scaled creatures around her. She was speaking to them in their clicking language. Most shocking of all, the aliens were ready to fight him. Elder Kiv had pulled himself up despite his injuries. He stood in front of Sora with his arms spread wide. Other Volani warriors who could still stand had formed a circle around the child. They held their simple spears toward the humans with the big guns. To the Volani, these new creatures in strange clothing looked dangerous. They had arrived in skyships that breathed fire. Their weapons were clearly powerful. Elder Kiv thought they had come to take Little Star away, maybe to hurt her. Wait, Sora called out in human language. Her voice sounded strange after months of speaking Volani. Do not hurt them. These are my people. Captain Park stopped his soldiers with a hand signal. His daughter stepped between the two groups. She looked so small, but she was the only bridge between two species that did not understand each other. Father, Sora said, switching to Korean. These people saved me. They are good people. Please do not hurt them. Then Sora turned to Elder Kiv and spoke in Volani. Elder, these are my family. They came to take me home. They will not hurt us. Captain Park watched his daughter translate between human and alien. She was only 8 years old, but she was making first contact between two species. He had trained for years to handle situations like this. His daughter was doing it naturally. Dr. Hyejin Kim was the science officer on the rescue mission. She watched the aliens with fascination. They were clearly intelligent. Their tools were simple but well made. Their behavior showed complex social structures, but what amazed Dr. Kim most was how they acted around Sora. These creatures had never seen a human before, but they treated Sora like family. When she spoke, they listened. When she moved toward her father, they moved with her to keep her safe. "Captain," Dr. Kim said quietly, "I need to document this. These aliens protected your daughter for months. This is not normal behavior for first contact." Through Sora's translation, Captain Park learned the full story. The Villani had found his daughter nearly dead. They had fed her their own food. They had healed her injuries with their medicine. When other tribes demanded they give her up, they had chosen to fight instead. Elder Kiev was still weak from his battle wounds, but he stood straight when he spoke to Captain Park through Sora. "We did what was right," the old Villani said. "Little Star was hurt. We helped her. That is what you do for younglings." Captain Park looked around at the Villani village. Many of the aliens were injured from the battle they had fought to protect his daughter. Their food stores were nearly empty because they had shared everything with Sora. Several of their warriors were dead. These people had given everything to save a child who was not even their species. "Tell him," Captain Park said to Sora, "tell him that I am grateful. Tell him that humans do not forget kindness." But when Sora translated, Elder Kiv shook his head. He spoke rapidly in Villani. "He says they do not want payment," Sora translated. "He says they just want to know that I will be safe." Dr. Kim was taking readings with her scanners. The data she was collecting would change everything humans knew about alien intelligence. The Villani brain scans showed unusual activity in areas related to empathy and protective instincts. "Captain," Dr. Kim said, "these beings are remarkable. Their brain structure makes them naturally protective of young creatures. What they did for your daughter was not just choice. It was biological programming to protect children." Captain Park thought about this. The Villani had not saved Sora because they wanted something from humans. They had not even known humans existed. They saved her because they could not let a child suffer. The problem was what to do next. Standard human policy was clear. First contact with primitive species required minimal interference. Take Sora and leave. Let the aliens develop naturally without human influence. But how could he just leave after what these people had done? Elder Kiv seemed to understand Captain Park's problem. Through Sora, he made a simple request. "Please take Little Star home safely. That is all we ask." The old Villani began to turn away, but Captain Park stopped him. There was something he needed to know. "Ask him about the attack," Captain Park said to Sora. "Ask him why the other tribes wanted to hurt you." Sora spoke to Elder Kiv in Villani. The old alien's answer made Captain Park's stomach turn cold. "He says the other tribes will attack again," Sora translated. "They are angry that his people helped me. They think it brought bad luck. They will come back with more warriors." Captain Park looked around the village again. Half the Villani warriors were dead or badly injured. Their defenses were broken. The other tribes would have no trouble finishing what they started. These people would die because they had saved his daughter. "Dr. Kim," Captain Park said, "what is the condition of the tribe?" "Not good, Captain. They are low on food and medical supplies. Many are injured. Without help, I do not think they will survive another attack." Captain Park made a decision that went against every rule in the book. "Signal Admiral Lee. Tell him I need to speak with him immediately." "Priority 1, what are you going to tell him?" Dr. Kim asked. "The truth. That we owe these people a debt we cannot walk away from." While they waited for Admiral Lee's response, Captain Park watched his daughter interact with the Villani. She helped Healer Yul treat wounded warriors. She shared human food rations with Villani children. She belonged to both worlds now. Young Nex, the Villani who had first found Sora, was especially close to her. Even though he was injured from the battle, he stayed near her. Captain Park could see that Nex thought of Sora as his little sister. When Admiral Lee's ship arrived, Captain Park was ready. He had prepared his report carefully, but he knew he was asking for something that had never been done before. Admiral Woojin Lee was a practical man. He had fought in 3 wars and handled dozens of first contact situations. He did not like surprises or complications. "Captain Park," Admiral Lee said as he looked around the alien village, "you are requesting permission to violate the non-interference directive to help a primitive species. Do you understand what you are asking?" "Yes, sir. I am asking permission to honor a debt." "Explain." Captain Park told the story of his daughter's rescue. He explained how the Villani had risked everything to save one human child. He talked about the battle they had fought and the warriors who had died. Admiral Lee listened without expression. When Captain Park finished, the Admiral was quiet for a long time. "Dr. Kim," Admiral Lee finally said, "what is your assessment of these aliens?" "They are remarkable, sir. Their natural empathy makes them unlike any species we have encountered. They are intelligent, peaceful except when protecting others, and naturally cooperative. They could be valuable allies if handled properly. And if we leave them here, they will probably die within the year, sir. The other tribes will attack again. This tribe is too weak to survive." Admiral Lee looked at Sora, who was teaching Villani children human songs. "And the child?" "She will be traumatized if we abandon the people who saved her life," Dr. Kim said. "She thinks of them as family now." Admiral Lee nodded slowly. "Captain Park, you are asking me to establish humanity's first protectorate relationship with an alien species. The political implications are enormous, yes, sir, but the moral implications of abandoning them are worse." Admiral Lee looked around the village one more time. He saw the alien warriors who had died protecting a human child. He saw the empty food stores. He saw the simple people who had given everything for kindness. "I will contact Earth Command," Admiral Lee said. "But Captain, you better be right about this. Because what you are asking for will change human-alien relations forever." As Admiral Lee returned to his ship to make the call that would decide the Villani's fate, Captain Park sat with his daughter and Elder Kiv. Even though they could not speak the same language directly, they understood each other perfectly. They were all parents, and parents protect their children. The question now was whether humanity would be willing to extend that same protection to an entire alien species. The small transport ship shook violently as it fell through the orange sky of Kepler 442c. Inside, 8-year-old Sora Park held tight to her seat as alarms screamed around her. Her father's diplomatic mission to the outer colonies had seemed exciting when they started. Now it felt like the end of everything. The ship hit the ground hard. Metal twisted and sparked. Then everything went quiet. When Sora woke up, her head hurt badly. She could not move her left arm. Blood covered her face. Around her, the broken ship was silent. The adults who had been talking and laughing just hours before were all still now. Too still. Sora tried to call out, but her voice was weak. She managed to crawl out of the wreckage through a hole in the ship's side. Outside, strange orange rocks stretched in all directions. 2 suns burned in the alien sky. She had never felt so alone. For 2 days, Sora stayed near the crashed ship. She found some water packets that had not broken. Her arm hurt more each day. At night, she heard strange sounds in the distance. During the day, she saw movement on the rocky hills. Something was watching her. On the 3rd morning, they came. The creatures that approached looked nothing like humans. They walked on 2 legs but were covered in gray-green scales. Their heads were longer than human heads, with large yellow eyes. They carried simple spears made of metal and wood. Sora was scared, but she was too weak to run. The leader of the group was clearly older than the others. His scales had white marks that showed his age. He looked at Sora for a long time. Then he spoke to the others in a language that sounded like clicking and humming. One of the younger creatures, barely more than a child himself, stepped forward. This was Nex. He looked at Sora's injured arm and made soft sounds. Even though she could not understand his words, Sora could hear kindness in his voice. The old leader, Elder Kiv, made a decision. He pointed to Sora and then to himself. Then he pointed toward the hills. They wanted her to come with them. Sora was afraid. These creatures could easily hurt her. But she was dying alone by the crashed ship. When Nex held out his hand, she took it. The journey to their village was hard for Sora. Her injured arm made every step painful. When she stumbled, Nex would help her up. When she needed to rest, the whole group would stop. They shared their water with her, even though they had very little. The Villani village was simple. Their homes were made of stone and clay. They had no machines, no advanced tools. Everything was made by hand. But when Elder Kiv brought Sora into the village, something amazing happened. The other Villani did not fear her. They did not treat her like a strange creature. Instead, they treated her like a hurt child who needed help. Healer Yol was an old female Villani who knew about fixing injuries. She looked at Sora's arm with gentle hands. Using plants and clay, she made a cast to help the bone heal. She gave Sora a bitter medicine that made the pain go away. The Villani had very little food, but they shared everything with Sora. When there was not enough, the adults would eat less so the children could eat more. This included Sora. She was not their child, not even their species, but they treated her as if she belonged to their family. Slowly, Sora began to learn their language. Next was her main teacher. He would point at things and say their names in Villani. Sora would try to repeat the sounds. When she got something right, Nex would make happy clicking noises. The Villani language was not easy, but Sora was smart. After a few weeks, she could ask for food and water. After a month, she could have simple conversations. She learned that the Villani called her Little Star because she fell from the sky. But not everyone was happy about Sora living with the tribe. Other Villani clans lived in the area. They thought Elder Kiv was making a mistake by keeping the strange child. They said it would bring bad luck. They said it was dangerous to help creatures from the sky. The arguments between the clans grew worse each day. Some Villani from other tribes came to demand that Elder Kiv give up Sora. They offered food and metal tools in exchange. Elder Kiv always said no. She is a youngling, he would tell them. We protect younglings. This is our way. The other clans did not like this answer. They began to make threats. They said if Elder Kiv did not give up the Sky Child, there would be war. Elder Kiv called a meeting of his tribe. He told them about the threats. He said anyone who wanted to leave could go. No one would think badly of them. But if they stayed, they might have to fight to protect Sora. Not a single Villani left. Warrior Kex was the strongest fighter in the tribe. He had scars from many battles. He looked at Sora and said, "Little Star is family now. We protect family," the other warriors agreed. Even young Nex, who was not yet a full warrior, said he would fight. Sora understood what was happening. These people were willing to die for her. She tried to tell Elder Kiv that she could leave. She could try to survive on her own. The old Villani just smiled and patted her head. "Younglings do not protect themselves," he said in his careful human words that Sora had taught him. "Adults protect younglings. This is the right way." The attack came at dawn on a cold morning. 3 other clans had joined together. They had more warriors than Elder Kiv's tribe. They carried better weapons. The battle was fierce. The Villani fought to protect their village and the small human child who had become part of their family. Warrior Kex fought like a demon, his spear flashing in the morning light, but there were too many enemies. As the battle turned bad, Elder Kiv told Healer Yol to take Sora and hide in the caves behind the village. Sora did not want to go. These people were fighting for her. She should stay and help. But Healer Yol picked her up and ran. Behind them, Sora could hear the sounds of fighting growing closer. In the cave, Sora and Healer Yol waited. They heard terrible sounds from the village. Yol held Sora close and sang soft songs to comfort her, but Sora could see tears on the old healer's face. Then Warrior Kex appeared at the cave entrance. He was badly hurt with blood on his scales. "They broke through," he gasped. "They are coming." Enemy warriors appeared behind him. Kex turned to fight them, even though he was already dying. He fell protecting the cave entrance, his body blocking the way to Sora and Healer Yol. The enemy warriors stepped over Kex's body. They looked at Sora with angry eyes. One raised his spear. That was when the sky lit up with fire. Human ships dropped from the clouds like falling stars. Bright light swept across the battlefield. The enemy warriors looked up in fear and ran. Sora ran from the cave toward the landing ships. She knew those shapes. She knew that symbol on their sides. After 3 months, her people had finally found her. But as the human soldiers came out of their ships, Sora turned back toward the village. The Villani who had saved her life were hurt and dying. Elder Kiv was on the ground, breathing hard. Warrior Kex was already dead. Sora ran to Elder Kiv and held his hand. In Villani, she told him, "My people are here. You saved me. You are good people." Elder Kiv smiled weakly. Even with human ships all around them, even facing creatures he had never seen before, he was happy. The Sky Child was safe. That was all that mattered to him. As human medics rushed to help the wounded Villani, Sora realized something important had happened here. Her people would want to know about these creatures who had risked everything to save one small human child, and she would make sure they understood just how special the Villani really were. 5 years had passed since the first Villani refugees arrived on Haven Colony. Sora Park was now 13 years old and served as the official ambassador between humans and protected species. 3 other alien species had joined the alliance under human protection. The Karathi were insect-like beings whose hive mind made them excellent at complex calculations. The Finn were small, furry creatures who could fix any machine. The Zephyrians were tall, thin beings who could survive in environments that would kill humans. Each species brought unique abilities. Each had asked for human protection after seeing how well the Villani were treated. Sora walked through the multi-species district of New Terra, the capital city of Haven Colony. Human children played with young Villani, Karathi, and Finn. Adult aliens worked in shops, schools, and government buildings alongside humans. The integration was so complete that visitors often could not tell which species had originally built the city. Ambassador Park, called Elder Yiva, who had taken over leadership of the Villani after Elder Kiv died peacefully the year before. The council is ready for your report. Sora nodded and followed the old Villani to the council building. At 13, she was the youngest ambassador in galactic history, but her childhood experience with the Villani gave her authority that no adult human could match. The Interspecies Council met every month to discuss issues affecting the Alliance. Today's meeting was special. Intelligence reports suggested that the Krator Empire was planning an attack on human space. The Krator were aggressive reptilian beings who believed that only strong species deserved to survive. They had destroyed dozens of weaker civilizations. Now they were targeting humanity and its protected species. Admiral Park, now in charge of all protected species defense forces, presented the threat assessment to the Council. The Krator fleet has been gathering ships for 6 months, he reported. Our intelligence suggests they plan to attack the outer colonies first, then move toward Earth and Haven Colony. The alien representatives listened carefully. The Karathi hive mind processed the tactical data instantly. The Finn engineers calculated how long human defenses could hold. The Zephyrians shared their knowledge of Krator battle tactics from previous encounters. What are our chances? Asked Dr. Kim, now the director of Interspecies Relations. Alone, humanity could probably hold them off, Admiral Park said. But the cost would be enormous. Many colonies would be destroyed. Elder Yiva spoke up. The protected species wish to help defend our home. Admiral Park looked uncomfortable. The Krator are much more dangerous than pirates. Many of you would die. Many humans will die too, replied Hive Queen Zitara of the Karathi. We are partners now. Partners share dangers. Sora stood up to address the council. Even though she was just 13, everyone listened when she spoke. The Villani have been preparing for this day since Nex died protecting human children, she said. All the protected species have. You cannot ask us to hide while humans fight alone. Sora is right, said Finn Chief Engineer Bolix. We fix human ships. We know human technology. We can help. Admiral Park realized he was fighting a losing battle. The protected species were no longer refugees seeking human protection. They had become true allies who wanted to defend their shared home. Very well, he said. We fight together. The preparation for war revealed how much the Alliance had grown. Villani emotional sensing helped identify which human soldiers were too stressed for combat. Karathi hive mind calculations improved battle strategies. Finn engineers modified human weapons to be more effective against Krator armor. Zephyrian scouts gathered intelligence in hostile environments. Sora worked as a coordination specialist, using her ability to speak all 4 alien languages to facilitate communication between species. She had become the living symbol of the Alliance. When the Krator fleet arrived, they expected to face only humans. Instead, they encountered a multi-species force that fought with coordinated precision. The battle for the Kepler system was fierce. Krator ships were individually stronger than human vessels, but the Alliance had advantages the Krator had not expected. Villani crew members could sense when Krator were about to change tactics by reading the emotional states of enemy commanders. This gave human captains precious seconds to prepare counter-moves, Karathi. Mathematicians calculated optimal attack patterns that allowed smaller human ships to defeat larger Krator vessels through coordinated strikes. Finn engineers kept human ships running even when they should have been destroyed. Their natural understanding of technology let them fix critical systems in the middle of battle. Zephyrian pilots could survive in damaged ships that would kill human crew members, allowing them to continue fighting when others would have to retreat. But the real breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Young Kyle, a Villani who had grown up on Haven Colony learning both human and Villani traditions, made a discovery that changed everything. While analyzing Crador communication intercepts, he noticed something strange. "Admiral," Kale reported to Admiral Park, "the Crador commanders are afraid." "Afraid of what?" "Of us, of the Alliance. They expected to fight humans, but we are something new. They do not understand how different species can work together so well." Admiral Park realized that Kale was right. The Crador Empire was based on conquest and domination. They could not understand how humans could form genuine partnerships with weaker species. This fear was making them make mistakes. Admiral Park developed a new strategy based on this insight. Instead of hiding the multi-species nature of the Alliance, they would emphasize it. Show the Crador that they were not fighting humans alone, but an entirely new kind of civilization. The final battle took place near Haven Colony itself. The Crador sent their most powerful fleet, determined to destroy the symbol of human-alien cooperation. But as the enemy ships approached, they faced something unprecedented in galactic history. Human ships fought alongside Volani vessels crewed by mixed-species teams. Karathi fighters swarmed around Finn engineering ships. Zephyrian scouts coordinated attacks with human battleships. Most importantly, the Alliance fought with a unity of purpose that the Crador could not match. The battle was won when Volani emotional sensors detected that the Crador Supreme Commander was losing confidence. Acting on this intelligence, Admiral Park targeted the command ship at the exact moment when the enemy leader was most uncertain. When the Crador flagship was destroyed, the rest of their fleet retreated in confusion. The victory celebration on Haven Colony lasted for days. For the first time, the Alliance had faced a major threat and emerged stronger. But the real celebration came when other alien species throughout the galaxy sent messages requesting to join the Interspecies Protection Alliance. They had seen that it was possible for different species to work together as equals. Sora, now recognized as the primary architect of interspecies cooperation, stood before the expanded council as it welcomed its seventh member species. "When I was 8 years old," she told the assembled representatives, "I crashed on a world where I did not belong. The people there could have ignored me or feared me. Instead, they saved my life." Sora looked at Elder Yiva, the descendant of the Volani who had first protected her. "They taught me that protection is not about being strong enough to fight alone. It is about caring enough to fight together." The council approved the admission of the Hegemony refugees, a species whose homeworld had been destroyed by the Crador. They would be the first species protected by the full Alliance rather than just humanity. Admiral Park watched his daughter address the council and felt proud. The scared little girl who had been saved by alien kindness had grown into the leader of a galactic alliance. After the ceremony, Sora walked through the memorial garden dedicated to Nex and the other Alliance members who had died defending their shared home. Elder Yiva joined her there. "Do you think Nex would be proud of what we have built?" Sora asked. "Young Nex understood something important," Elder Yiva replied. "Protection is not a burden. It is a gift that grows stronger when it is shared." Sora nodded. The Alliance now included 8 species with more requesting membership every month. Human space had become a beacon of hope for any species seeking protection and partnership. The scared child who had been saved by alien kindness had helped create something unprecedented in galactic history, a civilization based on mutual protection rather than conquest. As Sora looked up at the stars visible through the garden's transparent dome, she knew that Nex's sacrifice had been worth it. The alliance he had died protecting would continue to grow, offering safety and partnership to any species willing to contribute to the common good. The Volani had protected one human child. In return, humanity had learned to protect entire civilizations, and the galaxy was better for it. Elder Yiva placed a gentle, scaled hand on Sora's shoulder. "Come, Ambassador Park. There are new species representatives arriving tomorrow. They will want to hear the story of how a lost child became the foundation of galactic peace." Sora smiled and followed her old friend back toward the council building. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new species to welcome, and new opportunities to prove that protection shared among friends was the strongest force in the universe. The little girl who had been saved by aliens had grown up to save them in return.